I think this is going to fit my criteria, either in as much as it needs all this work that I want to do so I can get a good deal on it, or it's perfect and I don't need to do anything. So we have a pretty good idea before we even visit a home that it's going to be in line with what the clients are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I'm someone who actually sold a house this year in March, so it was right when the pandemic was cranking up, and there were certain things I couldn't do, like we couldn't have our normal open houses anymore. Even I couldn't have a yard sale because people we didn't want people fingering everything or coming in the house and fingering things. What's happening now with open houses that people are used to? And how are you attracting buyers beyond just the virtual tour?
Well, we do have open houses. I just had a very unique house that I did an open house on last month. It was underground, and it has a limited audience of people that want to look at an underground house. However, this place was near wineries, and I actually had one of the wineries work with me. We set up a wine tasting on a Sunday that the wineries were advertising. So we were on the way into the winery. So we said, we'll catch them before they even make it to the wineries and get enough. We did a lot of social distancing. It was a large home, and we did a lot of social distancing. We required masks. We made everyone use hand sanitizer before they went into the home, and it just didn't give them a choice, and basically told them that this is by the owner's request. So if you want to walk in the house, you wear a mask. Please do as little of touch as you can possibly do. Walk through. We had the closets open. We had everything done, and we staged it to where they could go in one door and walk through the house and then out another one. And we would give each family probably 10 minutes to kind of peruse through before we'd let the next family through. And we had quite a turnout for this. So it was a successful day. We got the house under contract that day.
Is that right?
And we're still doing things of that nature. They have opened up, and you can do it, but you just have to be careful. You just have to be careful. It's much easier in an unoccupied house than it is in an occupied house. But we can now do open houses. So
okay, well, good. So you have another aspect that I think feeds into your success along with your negotiating skills. Like you said, having to change from lowering the price to actually going up enough to be the buyer that gets paid attention to. You had one of your tactics you mentioned to me for a recent house sale was where you had all the contracts due on a certain date, and then the buyers look through all of them. Could you explain about that a little bit?
I will. I usually have a strategy of I'll list a house on a Wednesday or Thursday. And that will mean that it goes into our multiple listing service that day, and agents and clients have a chance to find it before the weekend. And then the weekend they have to look at it. Now, depending on the amount of interest that I've got, and lately I've been quite fortunate that interest has been great in everything that I've listed. I will put out a notice to everyone who has shown the house that on Sunday that we either do or do not have multiple offers. If we have multiple offers already on Sunday, which we usually do, we'll say showing start on Monday afternoon at 1:00. All items will be viewed Tuesday morning, and we will make a decision. So we're not going to go back and forth with any offer that you have. You need to come in with your highest and best offer right off the cuff, because we're not going to get. And that makes everyone just step up to the pump, and it cuts out a lot of the minutia and wasted time that happens. You find out how badly somebody wants one. When you tell them that you've got one shot, then they usually put their best foot forward.
And do you find this best foot forward, the highest and best, is it mostly purely financial, or do you get some people that tuck a letter in about how their kids loved it, or it's near this, or they used to go to school there, the heartstring letter kind of thing? What do you find that dynamic? Is that showing up in this approach?
Oh, it absolutely is showing up. The folks, it's quite interesting. I've had cardiologists, brain surgeons, and everybody else that grovel and write these gushy letters. That I mean, these are not people that you would normally expect to beg, saying, I really want, because I mean, I can't believe it, but they really do. They want, if you've got what they want, they are willing to sit down and write the letter to tell you every reason that they want it, how they want their children to grow up there, that they grew up in the neighborhood, or Uncle Jim did, and he turned out to be such a success, or
Does it work?
I'm a veteran, and I've fought Vietnam, and my grandchildren are close by, and I really, really need to be close to my children. We see it all, and there are those clients that nothing matters but money, and then there are those clients that their heartstrings can be pulled, and they really want to read those letters, so they're important, or they can be important depending on whom they are trying to buy from.
Right. I'm sure money always talks, but that could be the thing that kicks it over the end. So, Steve, before we wrap up, sorry.
It's not always the deciding factor.
For sure. So before we have to wrap up here very soon, how can people get a hold of you? If you got a website or an email you can share with us, or a phone number, that if people are looking to move to the Winston-Salem area, they definitely want you in their back pocket.
Sure. I have a website. The website is all small case. It's Steve Lawing, my name, SteveLawing.
Got it. Steve Lawing. At
L, the letter L is Larry, R is Romeo, B is Bravo, LRBrealestate.com. Steve.Lawing at LRBrealestate.com. Or not Steve.Lawing, excuse me, Steve Lawing at LRBrealestate.com.
Steve Lawing at LRBrealestate.com. Super.
That's
and and I know you, like you said, with the market being so quick and the turnover happening so fast, you haven't had so much time this summer to get out and do the fly fishing and the biking and so on. But I know you've slipped in a little bit of that. So that's a good thing to keep your own sort of juices flowing, although I know you like to make deals, so you that's the other way to keep your juices flowing. I'm so grateful that you've taken time to share with us today. Any comments you have before we wrap up in the last minute or so?
Yes. I would like to say that it is a good time to buy because of so many factors of the really inexpensive money and things of that nature. And don't pay too much for a house. If you don't have to, wait this thing out. I'll tell all of my clients, I'll be very upfront with them. They say, well, we're thinking about buying a house. I said, do you need to? Do you really want to right now? Because these are uncertain times. I had a client reach out to me yesterday that bought a house from me in 2014. And it is appreciated greatly. And she asked me, Steve, I want to list, but I think it's going to be in about 6 months. She said, what do you think? And I said, I don't. I had no idea 6 months ago that we were going to be where we are now. and I have no idea where we're going to be in 6 months. So if you want a house, it's a good time to buy for a lot of reasons, but it's also a time to be, reticent and really think about your reasons for buying, because something's going to change without a doubt.
That's interesting. Yeah, and at the same time, it's a seller's market right now too, in your area.
It is a seller's market, undoubtedly.
Cool. Well, everybody should be so lucky to have you on their side. So I really, really appreciate your insights, your goodwill, your singing, booming voice that brings such confidence and joie de vivre. So thank you so much, Steve, for spending time with us here today.
Donna, I hope I've been helpful.
You have. Okay. So everybody, we want to thank you too for listening into the show this week and hope you gain some new insights, tools, or strategies. Once again, that's Steve Lawing at lrbrealestate.com in the Winston-Salem, North Carolina area. And, a good guy all around as a friend and a neighbor if you're thinking to move to the area, but certainly for your real estate needs in the area of North Carolina. And thanks again to our listeners. You can find the archives on the SOBradionetwork.com and at GameChangerThinking.com, my business website. We're glad you were here with us today, and we look forward to having you with us next week. And do remember, the life you live is the legacy you leave. Bye-bye now.
Okay, we